You know, after I had to end on such a painfully average thing for the actual Scooby-Doo themed marathon in October, having this be the final Scooby-Doo movie that I have to review for now is actually kind of cathartic. Now, yes, I've technically already spoken my thoughts about this movie at length during my tier list video, but that video is A, old, and 2, almost 2 hours long. Like, I know not a lot of you are going to want to sit through a 2 hour long video, even though it does have over 150 views, but that's besides the point. Not to mention, I think my perspective might have changed a little bit. Yes, this movie's still as great as I said in that initial video, where it just barely cracked my top 10. And I feel like it's still the same case here. What do I mean by that? Well, let's discuss. What's up? What's happening? It's going to be welcome back to Animation Station. I'm Mr. For Anything, Everything Animation. Welcome to our final adventure for now with our crime-solving canine and his group of meddling kids. The final Scooby-Doo review for now. Because I need a break from this freaking canine for a while, because I've reviewed so much of him in the past, well, almost a month and a third. Like, I've reviewed so much Scooby stuff recently. So, after this, I'm going to be taking a well-deserved break from talking about this canine again. But don't worry, he will return, and I will make sure to review any of the new movies that come out when they come out. Like I did with Scooby-Doo and Crypto 2, before the Me Marathon even started. So, with all that out of the way, let's talk about Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog straight out of nowhere. I've loved this movie when I first saw it, as a huge fan of both Scooby-Doo and Courage. Courage has always been one of my favorite Cartoon Network shows, and seeing it brought back the same way they brought back Batman the Brave and the Bold is actually done to even greater effect here. And I really dug this one. And watching it now, while I do notice a few more nitpicks than I initially saw when I first watched it, I still love this movie. It's still going to be really high on my list. It's still going to be among the top 10 for now. And it is still going to be a very high final rating. So, yeah, I still love this movie, even though I still have some gripes with it that I do want to talk about. My first gripe, this one has not changed since my initial review. It's the straight out of nowhere song, or rap by Eustace. It's still bad. Like, it sucked when I first heard it in the movie, and it was pretty bad here still. Like, what were they thinking? That was so bad. I feel like it's supposed to be bad on purpose, but at the same time, it doesn't really fit the rest of the movie, and it feels like it's kind of just there because someone at WB is like, what's something we can do to add some more interesting, dynamic stuff to our Scooby-Doo movie? Get a rap song in there. Get it nice and hip and with the young crowd. It is a very bad song. It is bad, it is corporate, and it is bad. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad. That whole sequence, skip it, because it's only going to leave your eardrums hurting from having to listen to such awful garbage. So, yeah, the song still sucks. The big reveal at the end, I still think is clever, but it's not really built up all that well. Like, throughout this mystery, and it's actually a really good mystery this time, thank goodness. They're building up to something, but the payoff just doesn't quite land. It's a really cool homage to some more Courage lore, but at the same time, it just doesn't really feel all that, satisfying. And then my third and final gripe with this movie, the pacing is once again all over the place and wildly inconsistent. Like, it starts out great in that first act. Then in the second act, it gets a little shaky, but I can still follow it pretty well. And then the third act, it's rushed and flies off the rails and tries to cram everything into, like, the final 10-15 minutes of the movie. Like, Sword and the Scoob suffered from the same problem, but here, while it's not as obnoxiously obvious as it was in there, it's still very, very confusing. I mean, why did they rush the ending yet again? I get that these movies are less than an hour, well, they're barely over an hour long. And yes, I get that with a quicker runtime, you have to quicken things up. I understand that. But at that point, have the whole movie move at a breakneck pace. Instead of having it start slow, get a little bit faster, and then just go balls to the wall, flash level nuts. Like, it's weird. The pacing in this movie is weird. So, yeah, that's all my gripes with this movie. Now for my absolute truckload of positives. Seeing Courage again is awesome. They got back his original voice actor and he's just as great as ever. His interactions with Scooby and the gang are absolutely delightful. Freaking Muriel, voiced by Bea Arthur in her final role, is still as touching and heartfelt and tear-inducing as it was when I first saw it. All the characters are great here and they all mesh together really well. Velma's toned back again. Thank you. The mystery is actually great. It does a great job meshing these two worlds together. There's great dialogue, great writing, amazing animation. Like, they did a great job bringing Courage, the cowardly dog, into the Mystery Incorporated style animation. Like, they did an amazing job with that, and I'm stunned every single time I look at it. Like, at first I thought, well, this is maybe just updated Courage animation. No, they somehow found a way to actually incorporate that style while also continuously meshing it with the Mystery Incorporated style, and it somehow works beautifully and works really, really well. It looks beautiful. And then the other songs are great. I know I bashed the Straight Outta Nowhere title song, and yes, it still sucks, but the rest of the songs in here are pretty good. The freaking opening theme song especially is an absolute banger. I will listen to that any day of the week. And then Courage has a great arc in this movie, and like I said in my initial review, I love how this movie actually gave more focus to Courage rather than just Scooby. Like, that is something that a lot of crossovers fail to do. They keep the main franchise at the forefront, and then the crossover people are kind of just over here and are just here to be here. Here, with this movie, a lot like Batman, Scooby-Doo, Batman the Brave and the Bold once again, they actually let the crossover franchise be the spotlight. And here, they don't waste it. Courage owns the screen every single second he is on screen. And it's like, he's never changed in the years and years since the show initially concluded all those years ago. And there's also some funny moments, some goofy slapstick, and not to mention, real monsters again. Thank you, WB, for finally getting your head out of your rear end and giving us real monsters again. That alone gives you a thumbs up from me. And again, the way they were able to mesh these two franchises together was seamless. It was beautiful. It was so well done. Like, it's hard to describe it. You just need to see it for yourself. And while I did rag on the pacing of the third act being thrown off the rails and rushing like crazy, I do like the finale of this movie, where again, Courage gets to shine over Scooby. Like, I love Scooby. You know I love Scooby. If you've seen this entire marathon, you know I love Scooby. But seeing Courage, one of my personal favorites from Cartoon Network, have the spotlight for once, and actually utilize it to its full effect throughout the entire movie, not just the second act or the third act, is amazing. They did an amazing job putting Courage in this movie, and getting the original voice cast back was a huge, huge help too. So, yeah. That's pretty much all I can really say about Straight Outta Nowhere. It's a great crossover film. It's still among my top 10 Scooby-Doo movies, and it's only gotten better every single time I watch it. I love Scooby. I love Courage. This was pretty much made for me, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Final verdict for Straight Outta Nowhere is a strong, high 9 out of 10. The little gripes I have with it are nowhere near enough to get me to ever dislike this movie. I had a great time with it. It set my childhood nostalgia crazy, and it's just a delightful watch from start to finish. Emotional, funny, and pretty much everything you love about both franchises. that's it. And that's all our Scooby-Doo reviews for now. Thank you guys so much for watching all of these. And I guess until the next review, have a great day, and I'll catch you on the flip side.